Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for today's video. I actually challenged myself to make some big DIY pieces. If you follow me a lot, you know I make a ton of farmhouse decor, but I make a lot of smaller pieces like table centerpieces or shelf setters or smaller signs, just because a lot of the Dollar Tree signs and wall art is a lot smaller. But today I'm challenging myself to create some gorgeous DIYs using Dollar Tree items, but these have to be big. So I think these turned out really pretty. I enjoyed putting them together, and like I say, they are on a budget and are Dollar Tree friendly. If you want these pieces to be nicer quality, you can use real wood or look for thicker pieces, but I just tried to keep it as budget friendly as possible. But these are huge decor pieces that are going to be a focal point in my home, and they are very inexpensive to what you go to the store and see wall art decor pieces for. So I really hope you enjoy it, and let's go ahead and jump on into the video. To get these larger pieces, I knew that I would have to piece together a few of the Dollar Tree signs. I have found a ton of these leftover summer signs at my Dollar Tree, so I went ahead and grabbed them. The first thing I had to do was put these together to make the bigger piece. I did flip these opposite. I am going to glue them in the front so that I am going to be painting the back that does not have glitter on them, but I tried to put those little holes at the top and the bottom so that they would kind of be spread out and you wouldn't see so many little holes at the top. I did go ahead and remove the hanger, and then using some of these giant popsicle sticks from Walmart, I went ahead and put a ton on the back to make sure that this was going to be nice and sturdy and held together. If I didn't want to make this out of Dollar Tree items, I would have used pallet wood to have created this sign. I love working with pallet wood. It's just free and easy to use and just has a beautiful finish. And my dad always had some, or my husband would bring home some from work that were free, so I always had them on hand, but you do have to use power tools when doing that, so that's just something to keep in mind if you were wanting to make this more sturdy. But for the Dollar Tree items, I did just put these signs together. I went ahead and glued some of the popsicle sticks on the very end so that I would have the same height that I could glue a piece of this craft paper to completely cover the backing, and it just looks so much nicer if anyone were to see the back rather than seeing all of those glittery flamingos. I did use some of the Dollar Tree spackle to fill in the holes. I haven't ever used Dollar Tree spackle before, and it is just working perfect, and I love it so much. It's so light and fluffy, and it air dries super fast, so I've been really enjoying using it. But for this sign, I'm going to go ahead and paint this white. I ended up doing 2 coats of the white paint, and I'm going to use that as my main color because I am going to paint these home letters dark, and I really want them to pop off. I picked up these letters from Walmart. They are under $2 each, but that does make this project a little bit more pricey. So if you do want to cut the price in half and keep this as budget friendly as possible, you definitely could just print out your home letters and then paint them on instead of using them. But I just feel like these 3D letters popping off of there, they are just so easy to paint and already pre-made, so super easy to use, and I just think it makes it look like higher end. But I am using some of my antique wax brown, and this acts kind of like a stain. It's thinner than the paint and actually kind of is a little bit transparent, so you can see that wood grain behind it. I think it is gorgeous looking like the dark stain without having to actually go out, and stain is just really smelly and sometimes hard to work with, so I enjoy using the antique wax, and that is by Waverly, and it comes in those little bottles just like the little chalk paints. And then while I set those to the side and let those dry, I am using my Dollar Tree level. This has come in handy so much, especially for making these faux wood pieces, and I'm just using a paint marker to trace each side. I did try to space it out so that the lines would hit where the 2 signs were pieced together so that it kind of was camouflaged in there a little bit more. And then I didn't want such strong black lines, so I am taking a piece of sandpaper. These are my favorite sandpaper squares. I picked these up at Walmart, but they are in like the power tool section where you would buy pre-cut sanding paper. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my letters, and then some of this beautiful Dusty Miller floral picks that I did pick up recently from Walmart. So for those floral picks, they kind of remind me of like a larger lamb's ear, but I just love them so much. I thought they were so full and so pretty. You definitely could opt for Dollar Tree floral if you want to go cheaper, but Walmart has gorgeous floral picks out, and that is honestly one of my favorite places to get floral picks because they have gorgeous ones for 98 cents. And if you haven't checked out Walmart's fall picks yet, make sure that you do that because they have gorgeous fall picks, even ones similar to these little blue and cream colored neutral color fall picks for 98 cents. So I love them so much. But I added a bow to the center of those leaves, and then I want to share with you how you can add in some different picks. I'm going to glue my just everyday neutral decor down, so like the greenery and then the bow, and then I made it, or I realized that you were going to be able to tuck down any kind of pick that you wanted into each side of these bows. You definitely could add a piece of wire if you wanted to, but I wanted to make this interchangeable so if I ever wanted to change it out later. But as you can see, I added in some of those neutral pumpkins and it looks so pretty. And then I'll show you in just a second how I added in some colorful fall and just how it pops off of there and makes it look like a gorgeous piece as well. And this is how it turned out. I think it looks so nice. This is actually a huge piece, and I placed it above my bed, and in these shots it doesn't look that big, especially on camera, but I promise you this is a huge piece, and this would have been so expensive if you would have found this at a store, but we made this for super cheap. Okay, so the next thing we are creating is an oversized windmill. These are super pricey. I just saw one for 60 bucks at the store, and I knew we could create this for cheaper. I have created a smaller windmill on my channel, and you guys really seem to enjoy it, so I thought it would be fun to put together this one on a larger scale. So to get started, I am using a Dollar Tree hula hoop, the little wooden circle from Hobby Lobby, as well as some dowel rods from Dollar Tree, and then I just cut out a little pattern out of cardboard. I just kind of freehanded this and drew it out really fast, so I do end up cutting it down a little bit so it is like a thinner piece. I wanted to be able to put 2 of the windmill blades on a placemat. I ended up using 6 of these Dollar Tree placemats, and these are like the thin plasticky ones. They are not the like thicker cushiony ones, so I hope that makes sense. But I just wanted these to be able to paint really nicely and that they would be stiff and hold up really nicely, because these are going to kind of be supported a little bit in the back, but they are going to have to stand up on their own. So I just put them the opposite direction and traced them down on this placemat and cut it out. At first I did end up just cutting out 8 of them, but later on I do go ahead and cut out 3 more. So my windmill has 11 blades, but I wish that I would have done 12 just because it is a tad bit uneven, so I had to space them out so that you wouldn't notice. The hot glue will damage these plastic placemats, so instead of using hot glue, my mom showed me how you can add clear tape on the back of these so it doesn't mess up your placemat windmill, and I just thought that was a great idea, so that's what I end up doing. And then I do tack this in a couple of little spots of hot glue so it doesn't melt my placemat, and then take these outside and spray them with some of this Rust-Oleum hammered, but any kind of silver would have worked. The hula hoop actually pulls apart, so I'm going to be able to feed all of these windmills on there. Now you don't have to do this step, you can just glue your windmill blades down flat, but this just makes it a lot more decorative and look more realistic whenever the windmill blade is tilted to the side. So as you can tell, after you put it on there, it just looks realistic and raises up that front piece, and I just love it so much more. So I just freehanded a little circle on a piece of cardboard and then measured that on each of the windmill blades. After you cut one, you can use it as a template and just kind of lay it on the next one, and you'll be able to cut that out. And I just used a razor blade or a razor knife on one of those little Dollar Tree mats, and it worked so well, and I was able to cut them out pretty straight. I had them all on there, and then I took them off so that I could take this hula hoop outside, and I sprayed it silver as well as a little wooden circle. You can see all of these dowel rods do bunch up in the center, and it makes it really thick, so I did have to trim a few of them down so that they would lay nicer together and more surface area would touch the wooden circle so that they would be glued down, and just one wouldn't be on top. I did just pile on the hot glue. I just felt like it would hold it so much nicer if all of them were kind of grouped together. So I do end up pressing that down, but I do add a little wooden circle to the back just to give it a little extra reinforcement, and then tack down these little windmill blades in the spot that's touching the hula hoop. I think this is the part that just makes the entire windmill look so good. I'm using some truffle brown color, and it just gives the perfect rust color paint. I'm going to really pay attention to the edges and just drag it along the top and the bottom of the windmill. I do want to paint a little bit on the hula hoop, and then just whatever is left over on my brush, I'm going to pull it across the entire blade. I think this looks so realistic and rustic and so nice, and I just love how it turned out. And this is what it looks like all put together. Like I said, I just saw a windmill, and it was a tad bit smaller than this at the store for like 60 bucks, and I made this for less than $10, and I just love it so much. It is such a large statement piece that looks so beautifully decorated with greenery, or even just hanging beside other farmhouse decor. And next up is another fun project. It's not as huge as the first two projects, but still really fun and a larger piece that could be a standalone piece. I'm using those same summer signs, and I'm trying to use up all of my summer decor before I switch over to fall, but I turned these the opposite direction so they're kind of connected long ways at the end, and then once again going to hot glue these together with a lot of popsicle sticks. Since I've already made a white project and a gray project in this video, I wanted to do something different, so I'm going to go with my truffle brown color and kind of make this look like faux wood. I go ahead and just do one solid coat of the truffle color paint, and then I'm going to create some faux lines using a paint marker and just drawing the lines sideways instead of vertical this time. A lot of times whenever I do paint with this dark brown color, I have to use like a black to get it to dry brush over there really pretty. So I am going to do the same thing and just really, my brush was a little bit wet so it didn't do exactly what I wanted, but I did go ahead and just drag this over the edges. I love how it looks whenever you do that first, and then just putting whatever excess paint is on your brush just over there, and then just adding a few little darker spots here and there. And then I do go over that with a little bit of silver lining, or I think this is mineral color beige paint, just to make it pop off and have a little bit more color. I had to go several different places to find the right hooks, and I still didn't find exactly what I wanted. I wanted like one long hook that stuck out really far. This is the only thing that I could find. Very inexpensive. These were from Walmart, and they still were kind of pricey for what they were, and I hated that it had the second hook at the bottom, but you really don't pay any attention to it because I do use some nautical rope to hang these up with. So I go ahead and just space these out. I ended up just hot gluing these together. I know that's not the best choice. If I had liquid nails or another glue on hand, I would recommend using that and maybe even mixed with some hot glue to get it to hold until it dries. But my goal of this project was to use some of these unique terrarium planters, little succulent planters. I thought these were so cool looking and I wanted to use them so bad. So I go ahead and I'm going to use 3 of them on these hooks on this sign. And then a sweet subscriber told me a really cool idea. I had shared a planter that I had used these rocks with, and I said I didn't like how the rocks were so loose and they just weren't like glossy and stuck together like whenever you buy a high-end plant. So I am going to do what she recommended and put these in a bag and mix them with some Mod Podge. And she talked about how it would hold them together and make them nice and glossy. So that's exactly what I did, and I liked this. I think it turned out really good. The only thing I would recommend is if I did this again the next time, I wouldn't use Mod Podge, but I would try to use maybe more of like a clear Elmer's glue, or something that was clear, because it took the Mod Podge a long time to dry on the bottom, so it just stayed like white and milky a long time. But I feel like the clear glue could have just stayed in there and took as long as it needed to dry, and the project would have been done a lot faster. But I went ahead and just used a plastic fork and scooped these into the bottom. I don't recommend doing it very thick because, like I said, you don't want to seal off your Mod Podge at the bottom. You want this to be able to dry, but I thought this would be really cool looking, especially if you did like see it from the side. If I would have put the nautical rope through the little holes at the top, it would have hung the wrong direction and those little globes would have kept twisting back and forth. So I ended up tying the nautical rope so that it would be straight across with a piece of jute twine to the little hook, and then I double knotted it at the top, and then I was able to put the little hook on top of put the little nautical rope on top of the hook. So you can see kind of what I'm talking about here. The rocks on the top, they dried really fast, and then on the bottom it still has some Mod Podge left. I did take a little stick and kind of poke a few holes in there so the Mod Podge would go ahead and dry, but I'm just going to show you so I can finish this project how I added in some of Dollar Tree's succulents. I put a different one in the middle and then these 2 on the sides. I think it turned out such a unique, gorgeous piece that would be really fun. You could even hang like a little sign above it with a little quote about plants or just something really cute, and I just thought it turned out really cool. Thank you all so much for coming along and joining me today. This video was so much fun, making big DIY pieces. It was such a challenge. It was kind of hard to figure exactly how I was going to put everything together, but it was so much fun and I love the result. So I really hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you give me a big thumbs up, make sure you are subscribed, and happy crafting. Thanks for watching. Bye!